Hi, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I am still tackling my UFOs. The projects I'm using for this series of videos are the ones where something went wrong, and I'm trying to learn from my mistakes to keep future projects from becoming UFOs in the same way. This time the thing that went wrong wasn't my own fault. This is Canner's Kitchen. It is a really cute little kitchen scene from an old magazine. Here's the way it is depicted in the book. And let me see, I should have looked. The design is by Robin Clark, and it is from Cross Stitch Quick and Easy, the October-November 2090 issue. I would not have guessed from that cover that this project would be in here. And this is a great example of how there are some awesome projects in these old magazines. Even if at first glance it looks like there is nothing in there to my taste. I love this. So if you look at it, it looks good. I bet you can't see the problem because the first problem we fixed. I'll insert a picture of what went wrong. There was a charting error, and where it should have been DMC 722, the pattern called for DMC 772, so I had some orange splotches in my peaches. Got the peaches fixed, did some more stitching, and I need to give full credit to Michelle Bendy Stitchy. She is the one who figured out that 772 was an orange, or 722 was an orange, and maybe it was the orange we were looking at. Prior to that, Audrey Stitchy Witch 42 and I had been looking at my color card and random schemes of DMC up at Acorns and Threads, trying to see if we could solve the problem, because I couldn't figure it out on my own. I was just kind of overwhelmed by the idea of it. So we figured it out. I got more stitching done, and then I moved on to other projects. And when I picked it back up, I discovered that 722 is also in another spot. It's part of the lid up here. So is that actually 722, 772? What is going on? And as you can see, the pictures in the magazine are not great. As far as matching colors, I'm not gonna get anywhere with that. I had also decided to leave out this blue tile sort of thing in the background, and haven't decided if I'm leaving the checkerboard tablecloth or whatever that is yet. So I can see a couple challenges coming in this. Hopefully I have worked my way past the worst of the challenges, but I'm going to do some stitching and we'll see what happens, and I will check in with you later and let you know what I've managed to figure out. Hi again. I've done about 5 more hours of stitching since the last time I showed you this, and it is making progress. I think I have figured out my color issues. I told you last time about the green shade that was in my peaches and how the color that was supposed to be in the peaches was actually up here in the can lid. Looking at the picture, and this is not a great picture to match, I am very sure that I made the correct guess on swapping the colors between the peaches and the can lid. And you know, if I didn't do what the designer intended, it looks close to the picture in the magazine, I am not going to worry about it. I also did the back stitching on the peaches and the pickles, and one of the things when I picked up this project, I looked at that back stitching, which is the following the 90-degree angles that so many of the old cross stitch patterns do, and I thought I could clean those up and make them smoother and more rounded. And I spent a tremendous amount of time procrastinating, thinking I will figure it out later, because although I know it can be done, I don't know how to do it myself. And I decided I'm going to do the pattern as written. And honestly, once you are away from the pattern and looking at it from a reasonable distance, it doesn't look that choppy. You don't notice it. And especially in the whisk, you don't notice it. I know I personally have a tendency to look at my projects way too closely and not from a couple of feet away, which is how we're going to see this when it's framed on a wall. So I am making progress. I've got the jar of, I don't know what, it's like beans and corn or something maybe to fill in. I've got a little bit to do around the jam. I decided to leave off that checkered tablecloth, so I think I'm going to fill in these 2 empty spots on the strawberries with red, just so that is negative space between the strawberry and the jar, but I think it calls a lot of attention to itself, so I'm going to fill it in. I figured out these strawberries have French knots, which I hate French knots, but there are, I think, 6 of them in the pattern. I can make this happen, maybe. And there are a lot of little, there was 3 stitches of the shade of blue here, so I've been picking through my master set of DMC and finding the colors that I need for just a couple of stitches. I am making progress. I am loving the way this looks, and I will check in with you again after I've done some more stitching. I am back, and Canner's Kitchen is done, and I am just absolutely tickled with the way that this turned out. All of my fears about that charting error, and it just came down to having 2 numbers transposed. And I could have changed the back stitching to make it rounder and more polished, but it looks fine the way it is. I love the details on this one. Just look at the metal, is that called a bale on the mason jar? This is my new favorite thing. There's some really cute things in the old cross-stitch magazines that you can pick up at estate sales, and sometimes the cuteness is lost in the photography in all of that blue. So much 1990s blue there, but I stripped away the background, I stitched it the way I wanted it to be. I have no clue whatsoever how I'm going to FFO this, but that doesn't matter because the stitching is done and I can scratch another UFO off of my list. My timer glitched on me a couple of times, so I think from the point I was at where I started filming these video snippets, it maybe took me an additional 5 or 6 hours to get the project from UFO to finished. Thank you for watching. I am Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle. I will be back with you again with more videos soon, and let me know, what is it about your UFOs that makes them UFOs? Is it just me who does these things?